Why do we grip the familiar suffering tighter than we grip the possibility of something better? I had a dream last night. I was flying and it felt free, effortless, like it was the most natural thing in the world. And then I noticed I was flying. And the moment I saw myself doing it, it got harder. I want to talk about that moment because I think you know exactly what I mean, and it has nothing to do with dreams. There is a particular kind of suffering we are very, very good at: the resentment, the frustration, the low grade hum of, I am carrying all of this and nobody sees it. We know how to hold that. We know exactly what it weighs. We know how it sits in the body, right here in the chest and in the jaw, in the place where you used to laugh easily. We know what to expect from it. And then something good happens and we freeze because we don't know what to do with that at all. And here's the thing. Here's the thing nobody talks about. The unfamiliar good is scarier than the familiar bad. Familiar bad? We have a whole system for that. We have the thoughts, the language, the loop we run. We know how to be in it. Unexpected good. Ugh, we stand there like someone just handed us a dirty diaper. And then, and this is the part that gets me, we don't just not know what to do with it, we don't trust it. Those are two different gut punches. One is disorientation, the other is grief. Let me tell you a scene. But first, a question most of us learn before we learn anything else. Am I in your way? We were taught to make ourselves small so early and so consistently that when someone finally makes room for us, we don't know what to do with it. We've spent a lifetime practicing. Am I in your way? Nobody taught us how to just be in the room. My husband made dinner. I didn't ask, he just did it quietly. And he waited for me to finish what I was doing. And when I walked into the kitchen, the salads were just sitting there on the counter, ready. And do you know what my first thought was? Not thank you. Not, oh, that's nice. My first thought was, what do you want from me? No, I'm not proud of that. And no, I'm also not going to pretend it isn't real because half of the women watching this right now just felt something in their stomach because you know that thought. You've had it. Maybe not those exact words, but you've had the version of it that lives in your body. The brace, the wait for the other shoe, the I don't know what this costs yet. It's not a character flaw. It's a muscle that has been trained for years to expect a different outcome. And here's the brutal part: the muscle doesn't update just because the situation does. You can be standing in the middle of something genuinely good and still be running the old software, still waiting for the catch, still not quite able to fly because you can see yourself doing it. I booked a Broadway show once, The Scarlet Pimpernel, Minskoff. My agent called me, told me to go to the stage door, ask for the head of wardrobe. I went downstairs, tried on a dress, everything fit, but the woman wouldn't tell me what was happening. She just said, you need to talk to your agent. So I walked out into Times Square and I called my agent. And she said, you booked it. I'm walking around Times Square and I just booked my first Broadway show and I'm in a daze, not quite believing it, not quite able to land inside of it. That evening, I went to a cabaret show downtown. People I'd worked alongside for years. I told them and they said, "Uh-huh," like I had just told them I found a good parking spot. Then I told my boss at the restaurant where I was working day shifts. He said, congratulations. Are you going to be keeping your day shifts? Then I told my roommate, also flat. But here's the thing I didn't know until recently. On the night I actually went on, my mother just happened to be in town. She was there. And at the end of the show, the leading man, Douglas Sills, called me to the front of the stage because it's a Broadway tradition, your premiere. They celebrate you. And I have no memory of it. None. I was so unequipped to receive that moment that my brain didn't even store it. The good thing happened, a big one. And I was so trained to manage around the indifference, so braced for the flat response, that when the real celebration finally came, I wasn't even in my own body to catch it. So, why do we do this? Why do we grip the familiar suffering tighter than we grip the possibility of something better? Because the familiar suffering is known. You understand it. You know how to be inside it. You know what it weighs and how to carry it. The possibility of something better is unknown. And the unknown, even when it is good, requires you to drop the thing you've been holding. And you don't know yet what you are without it. Think of it like a muscle. Use it or lose it, right? We've been working out the resentment muscle, the vigilance muscle, the I will handle it muscle, the brace for impact muscle. Those are strong. And then someone hands you something good, and you're supposed to use the receiving muscle. And that one has been on the bench for a long time. Of course, it feels weird. Of course, you fumble it. Of course, your first instinct is suspicion. You're not broken. You are undertrained in a very specific direction. The pivot isn't leaving the hard thing. The pivot is learning to stay in the good thing without sabotaging it, without waiting for it to end, without watching yourself doing it until you lose altitude. I was flying in my dream. It was free. It felt like the most natural thing. And then I saw myself doing it, and it got harder. The moment you become the observer of your own goodness, you start to lose altitude. Not because the goodness isn't real, because you don't trust that you're allowed to have it. So here's the question I'm sitting with, and I want to leave it with you. What if the pivot isn't dramatic? What if it isn't leaving or burning it down or starting over? What if the pivot is just receiving, just letting the salad be on the counter, just standing at the front of the stage, just staying in the air? You are always the common denominator in your experience of life. And I want to tell you one more thing, because I think it's the part nobody prepares you for. You are going to have the conversation. You're going to name the pattern. You're going to decide together how you want to proceed, what you are willing to do, what you are not. And then you're going to have to actually do it in real time, in the room, while the old habit is right there watching you. It's going to be uncomfortable, deeply uncomfortable, because you just accidentally got on the advanced slope after one lesson on the bunny slope. That discomfort is not a sign you did it wrong. That's the great pivot in motion. Now what? Natalie Blaylock, Observation Optimist.